Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a conscious channel to learn about self empowerment, the law of attraction, metaphysics, natural health, and financial abundance. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love. Today, our special guest is Kevin Young. He is a returning guest, intuitive coach for lightworkers, and organizer of the Lightworkers Exchange. Today, we're going to talk about relationships and conscious dating. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Hello, Katina. Doing well. How are you today?
Awesome, awesome. So, we're
You know
talking
what?
about conscious dating.
Yay.
Yay,
Yes.
yay, yay. What is that? So many of us um, need guidance about that, especially when we haven't dated in a while, or
Mm.
some people who are just starting out with dating. And, we're in the conscious community. We want to be conscious of how we attract people into our lives, and what we put out there when it comes to dating and what we can expect. So what are your thoughts?
Mm. Mm. Well, that's certainly a question that a lot of people have. How do I attract the ideal mate or partnership or business partners? We were talking
Mm-hmm.
earlier. And my experience, the relationships, it's kind of all the same, right? A relationship's a relationship. They have different meanings to us, but the law of attraction works the same across the board. I was thinking about that a little bit earlier, and uh, when I met Suzanne, my wife,
Mm-hmm.
which was in 2004, it was when I was not trying to find a mate, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the linchpins in creating anything, attracting anything through law of attraction, is that we're not trying to do it. We're
Mm-hmm.
not putting effort in on the actual, as you and I know, law of attraction does the how. It's the step two of the three-step manifestation process. And so when we get our nose into trying to figure out how to make something happen, then we narrow the results that the universe can bring us, because we're only thinking about this narrow band of how something is going to come to us. And the universe has unlimited view of everything that's around us and knows all the paths. And so if we just get into the state of allowing and presence and just taking care of feeling good in the moment, then we
Mm-hmm.
open up the guidance that then will direct us eventually towards all the things we want, and that includes the relationship.
That's awesome. Makes perfect sense, doesn't
Well, it's always logically, yeah, it makes great sense. The devil's in the details,
it?
as they always say, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So it's interesting thinking back about meeting Suzanne when uh, anytime I had tried to date before we got together, I
Mm-hmm.
put time in on online dating services and going to events. I wasn't very social at the time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not super social now, but those were all those action steps which everybody else said, here's the thing that you should do. And it was when my mom passed in 2004, within the same month that a long-term relationship ended. A woman I had been dating for a year and a
Mm-hmm.
half suddenly left, and I had to work on myself. I realized that I've got to make some changes, and so one of the things I did was go take a meditation class. And I had been taking this one class with a local person on and off, and I went and had the class, went back as a refresher, and Suzanne was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we ran into each other. She had actually been instructed by her attorney at the time. She was going through a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
and this, believe it or not, an attorney actually recommended meditation, which was
Right?
unusual. Right? Yeah, how often does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
But all in divine, excuse me, divine timing. And so she was there. She wasn't ready for a relationship, but it was the universe's first nudge at
Mm-hmm.
rendezvousing us, because it knew that we had a lot in common. And so I was in a receptive state, and I was
Mm-hmm.
open to it. And she had finally let go of being attached to. She didn't want to go to meditation. She wasn't interested
Wow.
in any of that stuff. But she opened up to the attorney, and she actually, we were talking earlier. She wrote her paperback "Stepping into a Life of Joy" is her autobiography. It actually has a lot of the story, and that's a good read on
Hmm.
relation as well for your readers out there
Yeah.
who like
Is
a
it on
book.
Amazon?
Yeah, you can go to steppingintoalifeofjoy.com and it'll take you right there.
Beautiful.
So, but then we just kept following the breadcrumbs and getting together and not trying to make anything happen. I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship, but I enjoyed her company, and over, I don't know, a year and a half,
Hmm.
now things just kind of came together. So it's the best relationships that have come into my life have been the ones when I wasn't trying to have a relationship,
Yes.
business or personal.
I
So I
hear
think,
that a lot too.
yeah,
In successful relationships, that is. When you're not looking, uh, you're not
yeah.
trying, you're not efforting, and like, I gotta have a mate.
Well, like
I'm
anything
at
that,
this age, and
yeah, I
you gotta
know
get
the
over
clock's
that, right?
ticking.
Gotta get over
Well,
that.
yeah, because that's a low frequency. It's a
Yes.
scarcity, a fear
Yes.
mindset, and it's normal, right? I think we're kind of trained to feel like we got to take action and make stuff happen, but it may be counterintuitive at first, but once you kind of get the hang of just letting it go and finding joy in the moment, if you can, and I think I'm still a beginner at that process.
Hmm.
Because even today I thought things were going well and was moving towards some things, and some things got in my way, and then I got hit and I dropped very quickly to very low frequency, and it took me several hours this afternoon of just watching some TV and doing
Hmm.
some breathing, closing my eyes and get my vibration back. But
Yeah,
since we've been teaching it so long, I know the processes, and it's pretty easy to take myself back. Whereas when I was a lot younger, this I could have been down for a week.
I understand totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, because I had a something that happened on Friday and kind of took me down a little bit, and then but I came back up within a few hours, same just like you. And
Hmm.
over the weekend, I kind of thought about it, but I bounced. I just choose another thought.
Yeah.
Like, I
That.
have other things, so many other great things that are going on, and I choose to put my energy there. What's going right. So I totally get that.
Yeah. So that's the that's really the I would say that's the number one thing that people who are ready for a relationship can do. It's the catching yourself in the neediness state, and then finding something to bring that self-confidence, that joy, that higher frequency back on. Because really, in the end of the day, whoever's in your life has got to be a vibrational match to who you're being right now. It's just,
Right.
again, law of attraction 101. And so if you have people that are irritating, look at what it is, or they're bothering you in some way, or they're not quite what you want. Look at what's the feeling you're getting from that person by being around them, whether it's a date or a coworker, or could even be a
Hmm.
family member. What are the emotions that I'm feeling around this person? Or maybe around the majority of people that are in my life. What is the emotions that I typically have?
Hmm.
And that becomes the key then for you to look inside yourself and say, in what areas have I been letting this emotion dominate? Because everything on the outside world, in the outside world, is a direct vibrational reflection of what we've been putting out.
Right.
Right. So if you're frustrated, if you're bored with somebody, if they push your button, right,
Right.
that's what you got going on inside.
I get that. And so there's
Yeah.
no blame there. It's just a reflection
No.
of what we have going on. So just need to take
Yeah.
some take some steps there to go within and figure out, what do I have going on in my vibration?
Yeah. What am I bothering me in some other area of life? Maybe I'm frustrated about work, and I keep thinking that low energy, worry energy, fear, anger, whatever it is, and I've got that going. Unworthiness is a very big one in relationships. And I can be in a job that I don't really like. I'm not worthy of being paid more or doing what I love. You got
Hmm.
unworthiness going. Well, that's playing out in the relationships as well.
Absolutely. Why they can't attract a better partner.
Yeah, because they feel they don't deserve it. That's a big one.
Isn't that amazing? Wow.
Yeah, it's so simple logically, as you were saying earlier. The devil is in the details of doing the vibrational work. First of all, not beating ourselves up, as you just said. There's no guilt or shame needed. anywhere really in in the whole universe. That's a human concoction, right? You're
Right.
not getting it wrong. So owning it without self-blame or self-judgment is a really difficult thing to do at first, but that's the key. If you can
It
say,
is true.
right, I acknowledge that I created this outcome and it's okay, right? It's a
Right.
learning experience. I'm either growing and getting what I want, or I'm learning how to. Those are the only two things.
Yeah, it's a lesson.
Yeah, it's always a lesson. It's not something we should learn or have to learn. It's just valuable to know because it'll help us get what we want.
Absolutely. So for people who are just starting out dating, or if they're younger, or whatever age that is, and they decide they want to attract a mate into their lives, or maybe they were in a relationship that wasn't ideal and now they're single. My thought on that is that, like you were saying before, do the inner work first
Hmm.
before going out and saying you want to share your life with someone.
Yes. Yeah, you got to prepare. You got to prepare the environment, so to speak, the vibrational environment within yourself. Because really, if the perfect mate dropped into your lap, maybe passed in the coffee shop or whatever, and you still got worry and fear and unworthiness going on, they're not
Right.
going to stick, right?
No, they're not gonna
Yeah.
stick around.
Yeah. Or if they do, then they have to have worry and unworthiness and fear in them as well.
Right. Has to be a match.
Yeah,
So
always.
so basically we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are. We have to become that version of the person we want in our
There you
lives. We
go.
have to be that person.
We have to be that
We
person.
have to be
Right.
that person. And so if we have a list of these things of, what we want in our mate, what we desire, the type of relationship we desire, we have to have those same qualities and characteristics in ourselves.
Yeah, be that person.
We have to be that person.
Yeah, and
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 to own that vibration, right? It's
yeah,
like you're
that's right.
saying, it won't last if, maybe they are your ideal person, but you still got stuff going on. It's not gonna stick around. Maybe they'll be around for a week or so, or a month,
Exactly.
or whatever that is, and then they're gone. And that's why, it's because of the frequency.
It's always about the frequency. And one of the things that people often do then is they'll beat themselves up. They'll use that as evidence that I'm not worthy of a relationship. And there again, doesn't matter what you're using to beat yourself up and hold your vibration down. It's the same effect. So we got to find ways of taking ourselves off the hook, being light about it, not
Mhm.
being committed. And I would say if you're looking for a relationship, then you probably got a little neediness going on,
Mhm.
just by definition of, oh, I
Yes.
need somebody to complete me.
Right. Right.
Right. And there's not, I mean, it's great to have somebody that you love and that you're connected with. Suzanne and I have a lot in common and we spend most of our time together and it's wonderful.
That's
But
beautiful.
at the same time, I got to do things every day that matter to me more than to us, like
Right.
meditation, right? I work out, do my exercise. I want to work on the programs that I have, the offerings. I go out to lunch with somebody, and
Mhm.
those are all things that are selfish for Kevin to keep his vibration high, because you can't pour from an empty cup. Got
That's
to
so
fill,
true.
right?
Right. And selfish in a good way. It's not selfish isn't a bad thing. It's
No,
taking care of yourself. It's self-care is
that's
what
right.
it is. Yeah.
You got it. So here's one thing that I could share with your viewers about
Sure.
that I know has worked. There's a everything is about getting the vibration up, building the momentum, and so the self care is of course number one. Loving yourself so that somebody else can love you, right?
Mhm.
And finding your way down that path can take a while. I found that, actually, as an aside, the Louise Hay actually just released something about doing mirror work to build self-love, and that's been a big self-love has been a very hard one for me to overcome, and I go up and down, and it's just there. So the things out there that can help
Mhm.
you to improve that caring about yourself so that you can then let somebody else care about you. So
Right.
that's one thing. And then another thing that I know has worked, Suzanne's got a friend from high school, and she came to one of our law of attraction workshops back when we were doing them.
Mhm.
And she decided to make the list of ideal traits of a client, of a relationship, perfect
Mm-hmm.
relationship. This works in business with clients as well. And so she listed all things that she wanted, and got really excited about it, got into that really positive energy, and just felt what it would feel like to be with this person and all the fun that they would have. And so she got that vibration going, and she put it in her wallet, and she'd look at it every once in a while, and then eventually she forgot about it. And a few years ago, she met somebody, and they got married. I think they've actually been
Wow.
married a few years. And she went, and she actually came across that tattered old piece of paper in her wallet, totally forgot it was there, and she pulled the list out, and he has all of those qualities.
Isn't that beautiful? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I'm sure you've heard that other people have done that as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I know of a similar story. A young lady, she was younger. She was like 19 or something like that, or 20, and she took 10 years to work on herself and get her vibration up and become that version that she wanted. And then she got to the place where she was ready to start dating. Within 10 months, she manifested her
Mm.
ideal mate, and she said 99.9% of her list was in her mate. So
Yes. There you
it's
go.
because she did the work, or the inner work on herself. Is how this person manifested and showed up.
There you go. That's the whole idea of setting the vibration, setting the momentum in play, in motion. It's another point about law of attraction that I know you know, that
Hmm.
it's about really two things. One is what frequency we're on. That's, you can tell by the emotions you're feeling, where your thoughts are. And the
Hmm.
other is how long you stay on that frequency before
Right.
shifting your thoughts, right? And so the longer you stay in worry, then you're going to attract worrisome things. Thoughts,
Yeah.
people, places, circumstances, events have to match worry. And then if we worry about what's showing up in our lives, then we worry more, and then we send out more worry, and it just cascades.
Yeah.
But so it works the opposite too. If you can get into that good feeling place, this is, as we were talking about, self-care, and also about the good feeling of being in a relationship. Like, what do I love about all the relationships I've been in? Let's create the ideal relationship on paper. Let's just take time every day and feel what it'll feel like to have those things. Then the law of attraction starts to amplify that and starts to move things around, that'll start to bring things that match the good feeling. So that's the little mental game. And then the other part of that is then, and we talked about this earlier also, is letting go of the need to have the relationship
Yeah.
now or
Yeah.
ever. Just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And so you can become a monk for, a year, and just do vibrational work, and that's
Hmm.
okay. That's one
Hmm.
way. And another way is to set your intention to do a little every day and go out and be with people, and just take your bumps, right? You
Yes.
can attract some frogs, right?
Right.
Right, you don't have to kiss them though,
Right.
right?
You don't have to.
You go out and just mix with lots of people, who some of whom represent the demographic that you're looking for. If it's men, if you're looking for men, then find a place where you can meet some men. And what I always tell coaching clients, because I've coached a lot of people around relationships, when
Hmm.
you meet somebody you're attracted to, and you're still in the new phase,
Yeah.
the phrase you want to use is, um, I like you, but you're not the one. Right? Right?
Let them
That's
down.
it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to tell them that.
Okay.
Right?
You
you,
just think that to yourself.
you think that because it's the attachment that we have, like
Right.
somebody's I'm attracted to. Oh my God, this is the
They're the
only
one.
one.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Oh my
they're
God.
the one.
I found
That's
them.
There's the biggest relationship killer in the world.
It
They're
is
the one.
expectation.
Yeah,
Too much.
there's almost 4 billion of the opposite sex out there. Okay,
Hmm.
4,000 million people,
Yeah.
candidates, right? So why not go through 100 of them that are kind of close, so you can
Right.
find out what you like and what you don't like? Because sometimes we don't even really know what we like and we don't like until we're actually with a person. And then if
Right.
we've committed in our minds to that, we got to stay in this relationship because I committed and I got to be loyal, then now it just goes downhill very quickly because resentment starts to build up.
That's true. 'Cause you feel like you're stuck with that person.
Yeah, and you're not stuck with anybody.
No, it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it's a choice.
It is. So what are some more things? Where do we mess up in relationships? Like we were talking about earlier, the false premise about relate the whole ideal of that, you know.
The you complete me is,
Hmm.
that's probably the number one false premise. Nobody completes you but you, right? And if you need somebody to complete you, then you got holes,
Right.
right?
Right.
it,
Because
it,
you need this person to do this or do that or be this way or that way
yes, to feel good.
to feel
And,
good.
and instead of creating the good feelings within, it's what Abraham calls conditional love, right?
Right.
Right. I will only feel love under certain conditions, like you're around, or you tell me nice things, or you buy me gifts. Then that makes me feel love. Well, that's conditional on somebody else's behavior, and that's really not fair to the other person,
It's not.
because, right,
It's
you're
not their
expecting
responsibility.
exactly, and it really, in reality, it can't be, because emotions come from thoughts, and we create the thoughts.
Right.
And so we can, so it's our choice as to what the thoughts are that we're going to think based on how they feel. And so if we can generate the love within, then somebody who comes along will be an addition to the self-love that we're generating, but they won't be the replacement for it.
Right.
And it just takes so much pressure off the relationship.
It
And
does.
Suzanne and I have, we still are a work in progress, as everybody is. But
Yeah.
when we have our moments, particularly when we get angry, or which really doesn't happen often anymore, but it happened today a little bit, or yesterday, I was just irritated about something and I took it out on her, but she knows that it's not that it's not because of her, and I tell her that also
Yeah.
after the fact, that wasn't about you, and she knows it. But the blame is actually one of the valid emotions that you have to go through as you're going up the emotional scale. Right, when you're down in fear or worry or anger, then getting up to blame is actually an improvement. So it's good to feel blame at some point, because you're empowering yourself and moving back up the scale. It's just you don't stay in blame because it wasn't their fault to begin with. But if you can get up to that point, then you're
Hmm.
starting to release that energy. So it's always that process of feeling feelings, and this is another point. I'm glad you asked this. Is another very important thing, is that a lot of us have trained ourselves to not feel feelings.
Right. That's so true. We just react. We think and
Yeah.
then react.
Yes. And we stuff them down until something is so intense that it bubbles up very quickly, and we have a moment of intense rage, hatred, anger, because we were stuffing it down and ignoring it. And law of attraction just keeps attracting it. It doesn't matter if you feel an emotion. If you're thinking something that generates that emotion's frequency, you got to attract things that'll create that emotional response within you. And so what we recommend is important to practice feeling your feelings. There's no such thing as a wrong or a bad feeling. If you
Hmm.
can feel something, then now you can make adjustments as to what you're thinking,
That's true.
right? You can't steer the ship if you don't have a rudder.
Right.
And that's what emotions are. They're telling you what are the quality of your thoughts, what are you sending out, and what's going to come back then as a result of attraction. So care about how you feel. Let yourself get angry.
Hmm.
Don't do it around people, because then you'll just attract it in them. But
Right.
get off by
Right.
yourself and express the emotions. Very important. We have a room in the basement here when we have clients over, that where they can get physical. They can, cardboard boxes they can break, and we got a punching bag they can hit.
Okay. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I discovered it 5-6 years ago and bought it for myself because I knew I needed it.
Hmm.
And so now if a client is right to that point where they're ready to step into the emotion and get physical about it, so that they can start releasing it, because it gets stored in the body too.
Hmm.
Then we just go down the basement. Typically, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes, and then tears are flowing and emotions are coming up, and then they feel better. They feel
Yeah.
empowered.
To let it go. That
Yes.
outlet. To let it go. Let it out.
So find outlets, find ways to feel your feelings, express them, and release them by yourself.
That's awesome.
That's really, really important. Yeah. Just
Great.
have fun.
Just have fun.
Just
Nothing.
have fun.
Nothing serious going on. We just can't. We're here to have fun and
Just
experience
here to
life
have fun. That's right.
without attachment and
Yes.
expecting someone else to make us happy because it's not their responsibility. It's our responsibility.
Yeah. And it's not as hard as we think. Just try some of those techniques, practice them, and it takes a very little time for momentum to shift from not working to working, from positive, from negative to positive. So just put the time in every day, a little bit of time every day, moving your vibration up, and law of attraction will become your best friend and move things very quickly for you.
Absolutely. Any other last thoughts?
Well, I think you summarized it very well by saying it's really nothing serious going on here. It's when we make it serious that we clutter our lives. Just have fun.
Just
Just go
have
out and
fun.
let it go. Yeah,
Right.
it'll work
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah. Become your best version and you'll attract that
Yes.
perfect mate, business partner, client, coworker, whatever it is you're looking for.
All of the
Manager,
above.
boss.
Yeah, and you'll have fun doing it.
Just work on yourself, and the better you become, the better the people in your life will come too. So people
Yeah,
will show up to match your vibration.
it's a law.
It's a law. It has to happen.
Yep,
Awesome. This has been great.
as always.
Thank you for being a guest again, Kevin.
Always a pleasure, Katina. Anytime.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.